Hello, welcome to Mariah TV. So this is going to be a Virgo reading video. So a while back I came out with the logo and the information about a series just specifically for Virgos. So this is going to be the first official video on the new channel for a Virgo reading. So I'll place the cards over here that are being pulled. And yeah, let's get into the situation. So we're going to be using two decks. It's going to be the Surrender Oracle. The second deck is going to be the Shaman Oracle. So this one I didn't make, but this one I did. So I'm very excited to share and use my own deck for part of the reading. So let's shuffle up and call in the information for a fellow Virgos. So this reading is going to be for October. So we had a couple cards fall out here. So we got Dancer of Lies, great start, Dancer of Inspiration, and Dancer of Promise. And then I'm also going to pull a clarification card as well. Right. Like one pull too. Alright, so the first card that I pulled for October is Dancer of Lies. So I'm feeling there's going to be a lot of here's the information. And this is the way that I've perceived the information for a very long time, but it's going to flip on its head during October. So as you're moving and shape-shifting through that month, you're going to have to look at, are these things that I've been telling myself in order to maintain a certain persona or personality, or are these things actually true? So it's going to be an unraveling of truth, and this whole Dancer of Lies, it feels like, am I going to allow this perception to be embodied in this way, or am I going to choose another direction and be more transparent and honest around these things in my life? The next card is Dancer of Inspiration. So I'm getting this, it kind of feels like you're expanding your creative opportunities, you're expanding your creative mind, and it feels like you've been focusing on certain crafts that you're good at, but you haven't spent enough time doing them. Like, you know, you're working away, but there's this certain time period of like, this feels full enough, so let me go put it out into the world. But there's going to be this testing, like how deep can you actually go with this creative process, with this creation, so that you can integrate and move through a next level of creativity, because you're not only going to be inspiring yourself through this newness that's coming through, but you're also going to be inspiring other people to show up in a different way. So you might notice that people are doing stuff that's like slightly similar, but obviously their own expression, because you're inspiring them to move in another direction and go a little bit deeper in their practices. So obviously I'm saying creative, but this could be your body practice, this could be your energy practice, this could be your physical artwork, this can be clothing, this could be whatever you are putting out in the world, going a little bit deeper and looking at the details a little bit more. The next card is Dancer of Promise. So there's a lot of dancing going on here. So this Dancer of Promise, it feels like this energy is attached to the destiny or the purpose that's coming through. So I'm seeing this image of like someone giving you like a ring, of like, I'm gifting you this tangible thing in this reality to show you that I am aware of the work and acknowledge the work that you've done up until this point. So this promise of your destiny, it's like an acknowledgement coming from your guides and from your angels and from the people that you work with or the beings that you work with outside of this realm, and there's sort of like this carrying nature that comes through. So there's going to be a lightness and a floatiness as you move through this creation of lineage, this creation of practice that's moving through your body as you move through. And then for the clarification cards, the first card that I pulled was the gaze. So this card, when I was creating it, it's sort of like this just being and watching and observing. So just pulling in a bunch of information, and this sort of feeds in this getting deeper into the practice. So observing, making sure that your view is very large, take in as much as you can, soak that in, sit with it, and then feed it into the details of those creations. And the other card that I pulled was Sexuality. So this is the heart chakra symbol for the eye, and this card has different meanings. So for this specific month, it feels like an unwinding. I'm seeing like an unwinding of the spine. So it looks like the bottom of the spine is winded energetically, and it's like this unraveling. So there can be this new level of straightness. So when we have doubts, it kind of like curves the spine, and like the information can't go directly. So this unraveling that's going to happen is going to create this new movement around the creations in the womb, and tapping into what pleasure looks like on the outside to you when it manifests, and what pleasure feels like when it's inside the body, moving around and creating the things that you want. So I do feel I want to pull a few more cards here. Let's do more specific to the beginning and ending. So these cards that I pulled are more about like the grand macro view. So let's go a little bit more specific into the details. Okay, so the first card that I pulled here is Hunter of Paths. So this is the vibe of the beginning of October. So I'm getting this image of, it's like you have this path that you've been continuously going on that feels very lush and familiar, but then you sort of pivot, and there's another path over here, and there's another path over here, and there's a infinite amount. And what you're going to be able to do is be able to collapse those pathways into one space, so you don't really have to choose what path. They all can operate and be in the same place. You just have to have that awareness of, I'm allowed to condense and move all of these paths into one locked in location. And then the end of October is the Shaman of Tradition. So over the last, I guess, couple weeks, I've been feeling this card, I guess, of going back to ritual, going back to routine, and going back to that passing over of lineage and energy that moves through a teacher to a student to another student to another, it goes through that lineage. So coming back to the quality that happens, the quality that moves through different spaces when there's an awareness and appreciation for a lineage that moves through. So this tradition piece could relate to the way that you do specific things in your family life. This can be specific in the way that you do your spiritual work. This can be specific into the way that you create things. It's just having a better awareness of, how do I want to cultivate a tradition around my creations, because this creates a certain energy and a potency, because this is something that you could pass on. So there's an importance around whatever I'm doing. It's obviously to serve, make me happy, serve myself, serve the world, serve, if you want to have future children, or serve in a way that can be passed on and digested through another person, so that they can understand that piece of value, that piece of fruit that you've created and passed on into the world. So there's that. Let me pull a few cards for situation. It kind of feels like there's going to be a specific situation that's going to have to be focused on and moved through in order to bring you into November. All right, situation. Okay, so for the situation, so the cards that I pulled was Shaman of Foresight and Spirit of Healing. So there's going to be a specific point in that month where you're going to do some sort of ceremony, some sort of attunement, some sort of opening, whether it's scheduled or spontaneous. There is going to be some sort of moment, whether you're a spiritual human or not. There is going to be a sacred space, and you're going to notice like this is the thing that's going to give me this awareness that I'm stepping into a next level of myself or another energy. So this whole Shaman of Foresight and Spirit of Healing for the second card, as you sit in this point, this very specific point for this ceremony, there's going to be a moment where you have to make a choice, and this choice is going to determine the way you allow your thoughts to overlay and move together. So usually you'll have like a thought that comes in, and then when it melts with this thought, there's the obvious outcome in the way that you perceive and the way that you're going to move with that habit. But what's going to happen is you're going to be this new awareness of thoughts. So when you have this thought and this thought, when they come together, you're going to be able to look at it a little bit more from a macro view and like, I don't really want those to hold hands or work together anymore. And that's going to bring clarity on the things that you need to keep and the things that you need to leave, because there's going to be a lot of shedding that happens out of this ceremony. So yes, we covered macro, details, situations, and clarity. So yeah, that is the first Virgo reading for October, and my goal is to do one for every month, and maybe I'll even go to specific weeks if I know something's going to be coming through. But yeah, there it is. So thank you for watching Mariah TV, and I'll see you guys soon.